So if I asked you to list off some of the most valuable items in Diablo 2 Resurrected, what do you think you'd say? Would you go with Enigma or other types of high rune words? Or would you go straight for the high runes, Ja, Bird, Cham, and stuff like that? Or maybe some people would list off things like Annies and Torches. Now, these items are absolutely amazing. They are definitely valuable, but there's actually far more valuable items in Diablo 2 Resurrected that a lot of people would not even think of, or possibly they don't even know about. That's what we're talking about right here in this video today. Some of the most expensive and valuable items in Diablo 2 Resurrected that a lot of people aren't even aware of.
Let's get after it.
So these aren't going to be in any particular order, but the first one here that I'm going to go with is Jeweler's Armors of the Whale. Now these can be any type, but the specific one I'm going to look at today is a confirmed trade that I found on D2JSP. Sorry about your opinion if you think it's an absolutely terrible site, but it is one of the easier ways to actually confirm that a trade went down and happened and what it actually sold for. Now I found a trade of a Jeweler's Armor of the Whale, which is a wired fleece, and this actually had a current offer of 5,100 FG Forum Gold. To put that into perspective, a Burr Rune right now goes for roughly 600 to 630 Forum Gold. So somebody actually offered to buy this particular armor for around 8.5 Burr Runes. This isn't one of those things that people put out a price that no one's ever going to pay. This is somebody actually asking to buy it from them for that amount. The person did not accept that offer yet, but they decided to put a buy it now price on that exact armor for 10,500 Forum Gold, or roughly somewhere between 18 and 20 Burr Runes. Now, when I'm running around in a cow game, a lot of times I see people not even pick up blue armors, and people ask me why I even bother. Now, I've never found one of these before, but imagine if you did with that kind of value, and this is several months into non-ladder. Imagine if that was right near the beginning of a ladder. On top of getting these types of armors with life on them, you can also get them with faster hit recovery, and those also have an incredibly large amount of value. And crazy enough, you can actually walk over to Charcy and buy lower level versions of these armors, either in light plates or ancient armors. The lighter the base, the more value, because if you have some of the heavier armor bases, it'll actually slow down your character slightly. So the next one we'll actually talk about here are actually 640 magic blue javelins. This is another one of those items that I always run around and identify, and other people don't even pick them up. They just walk right on by. Now, also, I will mention they are incredibly rare. I identify them all the time, but I have actually never found any of these 640 javelins. But because they're so rare and they are sought after, that's why they're so valuable. Even though you'd think items like Titans and T-Strokes would be better off, actually, when you get to super high levels, every single extra skill point you get into javelin skills actually increases your damage immensely. And that's why there's definitely certain instances where people will use even 540 javelins that you can get rare over T-Strokes or Titans. And also, some people will use these 640 javelins that you can get only as blue. The actual rare ones cannot get up to these 6 to javelin skills. Now, like I said, these are incredibly rare, and they're actually so rare I couldn't track down an actual confirmed trade of these 640 javelins. So what I did find is a trade of some 540 javelins, and these actually went for 1,000 FG. Now, like I did for the last one, put it into perspective, roughly between 600 and 630 FG is what a Burr Rune goes for. So these javelins that were 540 went for almost 2 Burr Runes. Now, with the rarity of these 640 javelins, I would imagine they would go for substantially more than what the 540s went for. So most people know that skillers are very, very useful, and if they roll with extra modifiers on them, it can definitely increase their value. But what some people don't necessarily realize, because I get asked questions about it quite often, is that they can actually roll with more than 40 to life on them. Now, there's only certain instances, and you have to get these Grand Charms from specific monsters in order to be a high enough item level in order to get 45 to life. Now, the only 3 monsters that you can get these from are Baal, Diablo, and Neelathak, and it has been kind of uncommon for them to actually drop even the Grand Charm, let alone one that will then get a Skiller and also 45 to life. The way that most of these are created is you get any random Grand Charm from one of those 3 monsters that doesn't have good stats, put it in the cube with 3 perfect gems, and roll and roll and roll it over and over again until you get that incredibly valuable Grand Charm. Now, while the maximum of 40 to life is pretty valuable, 45 to life will shoot that price up like crazy. I know it's only 5 life, it doesn't seem like it'd be that much, but people do love absolutely perfect items. And because you can only get them from these 3 particular monsters, the rarity is out of this world. On top of the 45 to life, you definitely want to get the right skill too, because it can affect the value of the Grand Charm a ton. Nothing's worse than getting a sick life total on your Grand Charm and then getting Necro Curses. For a good example, once again, I got a D2 JSP price right here. Somebody was selling a 45 to life Pally Combat Grand Charm and actually got an offer of 10,500 FG. Now, once again, that's between 18 and 20 Burr Runes. Up next, here's another one that a lot of people probably don't know even exists, and that's 451 poison damage small charms. Now, that number on a small charm seems too high to even be legit, but I assure you they are actually possible to get. Similar to the 45 to life on a Grand Charm, these small charms have to come from either Diablo, Bale, or Neelathak. They're the only characters in the game that are high enough level in order to drop them. One reason they're so incredibly rare as well is because more people want to get 45 to life skillers than necessarily want to have a 451 poison damage small charm. This will lead people to use all of their perfect gems re-rolling Grand Charms and not using any of them to re-roll small charms. Now, if you get, like I said in the last example, a 45 to life Pally Combat, that's going to be much more valuable than one of these small charms, but these small charms still have a significant amount of value. Now, unfortunately, they're so rare I couldn't actually find an instance of one of them being traded, but I did find a 313 poison damage small charm that was actually sold for real money, and over the last month, I've seen them sell for between $10 and $20 a piece. I mean, this is speculation, but I would not be shocked if I seen these higher 451 poison damage small charms that are a lot more rare sell for probably easily $50, probably more like $100. Like I said, don't attack me here. This is just speculation because like I said, I couldn't find an instance of one of these 451 poison damage small charms actually being sold or traded. Now we're coming to the most expensive one that I personally could find here for Diablo 2 Resurrected, and this item sold for nearly $1,000. And this isn't like somebody listed it for $1,000. Somebody paid $1,000 for this item. This item is a Jeweler's Monarch of Deflection. Now, it sounds absolutely crazy to pay $1,000 for a fake item in a game, and you know what? It is kind of crazy, but someone literally paid that much for this 4-socketed Monarch that has the extra block rate and block chance. Now, I will admit this was earlier in Diablo 2 Resurrected's history here. It's been out for a few months. This was on December 3rd, so about 2 months ago. Currently, I've seen these listed for anywhere from $200 to $400. A lot of people don't realize that this is so incredibly valuable, especially if you don't PvP, because that's mainly what these are going to be used for. People a lot of times will fill these up with 40-15 joules or things close to that in order to get their increased attack speed up and get the damage. So I'm no real PvPer, so I don't necessarily need this item, but you can bet that I'm picking up every blue Monarch that I see, and I'm going to identify that. I have even actually heard of people taking their perfect gems and re-rolling blue Monarchs that they find in order to hopefully get one of these. So for the last one on the list, we're actually going to go with an item that people probably pick up in ID all the time, but you might not realize how good this item could actually end up being. Now, for the example of this video, we're going to jump over to another great content creator that I'm going to cite right here, and that is Cooley. With what he brought to us was a $4,000 ring. So it would be crazy if you picked one up and ID'd it and it looked like this, but this ring is so incredibly powerful. You get the 10 faster hit recovery, you get a bunch of strength, a bunch of life, you get all of that mana, and all resistance. Part of what makes this ring so crazy that it rolled this way is actually the life, the strength, and the all resistance all rolled perfect, along with it getting the ever needed 10% faster cast rate. Now, I will point out, I believe this is more of the ring rumored to have sold for this much, but it is such a crazy item. Who knows, right at the beginning of the game, maybe somebody went bananas with their checkbook. So there's all kinds of crazy items out there. I couldn't list them all in one video, but hey, go ahead, jump down in the comment section and let me know anything that you would like to add to this type of list of items that people might not know are incredibly valuable. Hit that like button, subscribe up before you go, and huge shout out to all the channel members. With your support, you make all this possible. Peace out, YouTube, and don't forget,
Keep slaying. Ooh.